Hey everyone, welcome to this daily Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for Wednesday, January 11th, 2017. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky, known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so today we are approaching a full moon tomorrow on Thursday. Will be in Gemini. The moon is in Gemini here today, so definitely activating this full moon. So this is very much about a culminating time, as I often talk about during the full moon. You know, there's awareness. You get that sun energy bouncing off of the moon. And so this can be insight. This can be things coming to the forefront, that awareness, maybe particularly things from the past couple weeks. Usually it's all cyclical in the sense that the things we started to think about or cultivated over these past 2 weeks do come to the forefront. And that can mean insight, but it can also mean cultivation. If there's been things you've been particularly working on these past couple weeks, on some level it does come to the high point. Now, with full moons, there are status checks, so it's a good time to do a status check generally this week. See how things are going for you in your life. And a lot of it is about Gemini. So it's seeing how the Gemini energy is flowing. And Gemini is all about that inquisition, right? Treating life as a learning process. Do we have inquisition? Are we willing to learn? Are we willing to share our information with others? You know, Gemini is very much about connecting with others on an equal plane, right? The twins, sharing information, sharing ideas, and even too, just exchanging things, whether it's ideas or not. So it's a great time to do a status check to see how this sort of energy is cultivating in our lives, and maybe even too over the past 6 months, since that's when we had the new moon in Gemini. But in either case, cultivating it. And I think it's really good here today and for the rest of the week to maybe access this Geminian quality of inquisition, doing some learning, some sharing, and anything else on that mental or practical sphere. So within that context, of course, this is all in regards to Sagittarius. The sun's been here. Mercury's recently gone direct here. So this is opposite Gemini, right? So Gemini is the practical, the mind, you know, this mental type of energy. Sagittarius is also about the ideas and learning and mental type of stuff, but it's more about what's possible, right? It's what you might consider the right side of the brain. The expansive, the possibilities, the potentials, thinking big. And so that's been very much activated, and I think today is a great day to balance these two, seeing both the practical and the possible, and continuing to expand those horizons, whether it is mentally or quite literally. You know, that adventurous spirit of life can be a great source of energy. We are moving things forward with Mercury direct, slowly but surely. Maybe about thinking big, maybe about what we learned these past few weeks, regarding that, or regarding the, again, adventurous or open mind. So that's the opposition in terms of those two planets, very important with the full moon, again, cultivating time. In the aspect grid, we do have a lot going on here today. The most important, I would say, or those two that are most important, this is going to be Mars sextiling Pluto, which was in orb yesterday. I was talking a bit about this. There's been that intentful change. And also the sun starts to square up to Jupiter. All right, this is going to be part of the full moon, which I'll talk about tomorrow regarding the full moon side of it. But today, certainly activating this aspect as well. So let's talk about this sextile to Pluto. What's interesting about both of these aspects, in fact, and the aspect we had yesterday with the sun squaring Uranus, is that all of this energy has been activated about 3 months ago, back in October, right? Because the sun goes through its cycles. For example, 3 months ago, we had that opposition up to Uranus. 3 months later, we have the square, which is the 90-degree angle. Same thing with Jupiter, except Jupiter was a conjunction. All right, so we'll talk about that. But Mars was conjoining Pluto at the same time. So anyways, lots going on since October. And here today, and really this whole week, really good time to move some of that stuff forward. So thinking back to that time, maybe there was some new beginnings. And with Mars, maybe there was a new direction that you took that was maybe about motivating yourself, or maybe it was about cultivating your desires. And with Pluto, you know, it's all about transformation. So maybe it was about transforming some of these desires into some action. And again, do check your weekly to see which house this is. It's the Sagittarius is where this conjunction took place. So yeah, today And this week, this sort of opening with the sextile to maybe move some of this forward, this active energy, this motivation, this drive to transform these desires into action. And with both of these planets, they're very instinctual, Pluto, Mars, they're all very much having to do with that 8th house with Scorpio, all that same kind of energy. In easy aspect, though, it can make it a really good time to maybe face some fears to cultivate what we want. Now, it's very powerful, but this aspect isn't going to kick us into action. It's a sextile. Sextiles are a sort of opening. So we have this opportunity. We can choose or choose not to use it, but it is certainly available. And I think it's very much about taking the action steps towards making some change, maybe some deep change, and maybe facing some fears to do that. All right, so along with that one, the square with the Sun and Jupiter does signify that around that October time, there was some new beginnings about what's possible. That's what Jupiter's all about. It's what Sagittarius is all about as well. So seeing potentials and the possibilities and maybe cultivating something new that maybe takes some work. Jupiter has been transiting Virgo, which is about taking the everyday steps, just like Gemini, the practical steps towards cultivating those possibilities. Maybe it's the work, the routine, however that might be, but the details of it. And so now in the square, it's the challenging time of those new beginnings. With Jupiter, it doesn't really come across as challenging as much as there's this sort of swing of inspiration, right? A sort of pendulum swing. On one extreme, we might be very optimistic about these possibilities and potentials this week. And on the other side, maybe not optimistic at all. And our personal charts, depending on how Jupiter's placed in your personal chart, will determine which of the two will likely be more of the swing for you. But likely it's a little bit of both. Okay, so if you are feeling a bit of the over-inspiration, the under-inspiration, the over-optimism, the under-optimism here going into tomorrow, be aware of that. Know that there is certainly things being cultivated with the new beginnings. Maybe they're taking time. Maybe they're requiring a bit of patience or a bigger picture. And with the square 2, challenging yourself to maybe take some actions towards these possibilities this week. It's a very powerful week. It's a lot going on. And with the full moon really activating this. So very good there to take actions. It's what the squares are all about. And even too with the Mars sextiling up to Pluto. All right, so those are the two most important aspects. We also do have a sextile with Chiron and the Sun. So on a minor note, there could be some healing today. Maybe a bit of rejuvenation. Freshness in the air certainly available that could support this whole process. Now, in terms of what we're feeling with the moon, there is some nice support with the emotional body, with that, again, inquisitive nature of Gemini. And a lot of it's involving what we've got going into tomorrow during the full moon, and that's Venus conjoining up to Neptune. Today we got the moon trining that conjunction. So we're entering into, might even be feeling today, maybe a bit of that dreamy sort of energy. Maybe enjoying a bit of the dreaminess, the imagination, the romance, maybe if it's in relationships, or, just enjoying a bit of the more, dreamy and creative and connected side to life. And that's really the best way of working with it is presence, gratitude, acceptance. And I think we are willing to do that here today, which is very good. Could, again, be good for relationships, good for values, and anything that does require a bit of that going with the flow. All right, so that's the day in a nutshell. The way I would sum this up is certainly a powerful day, or could be, rather, with this opening collectively to continue with this October energy, move some things forward. Could be motivating, could be very transformational. The Sun squaring Jupiter, a reminder that it is a time to challenge ourselves with these possibilities, to take it nice and slow, which is what the square is all about, but cultivating it, right? Taking those action steps there with the square. And approaching a full moon, there is this awareness, this insight, great time to access our inquisitive side, learning, maybe actual things like reading, writing, communication, all this can be certainly helpful. And again, a great time to do a status check with those things in our life, and all in relation to the bigger picture, right? Thinking big, seeing potentials, and cultivating them as well. All right, so I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the full moon report. Take care.